With our last desk avail today with our driver of the number 4 SHR Ford, Kevin Harvick. Kevin, thank you for joining us. Your last race here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Earlier this week, SHR released a video that kind of compiled some of your more fiery moments from Bristol. What makes this track a track that brings that out in drivers?
Yeah, all those weren't from Bristol, but I think Bristol, especially this race, really in general, just it's short track racing, and everything happens so fast here that you're amped up and excited and mad and frustrated and all those things pretty much every lap. So you just have to take it with a grain of salt. It is what it is, and sometimes emotion comes out and those things happen.
All right, we'll go to questions for Kevin. If you have one, raise your hand. We'll get a mic too. We'll start with Jeff.
When you come back here as a broadcaster next year, it'll be another concrete race instead of dirt race in the spring. How do you feel about that?
I think that's fantastic. I think the dirt race was what it was, right? I think it's it's just something that you try, and probably tried it a couple of years too long. But yeah, I'm always going to vote for something that's not dirt.
All right, Bob.
Bob Pockris, Fox Sports. You're 7 points above the cut, and Martin Truex Jr. is 7 points below. Are you amazed that the regular season champion is below the cut? And what would it say if he doesn't make it? Like, does the system need to be changed, or is that the system and that's fine?
Yeah, well, I think that it's a tough scenario, right? Because it makes it exciting and stuff to talk about, and I think it's even in the championship that I won and some of the ones that I've lost, it doesn't really represent your whole year. You get to the point of making the playoffs and trying to get through the rounds and doing the things that you do, but it's still not representative of what you had as a year. So, I think you just go out and do what you can and try to put yourself in the best position that you can. And, these things work in weird ways, right? And, it's just, he probably hasn't had that happen all year, and then it happens in the first round of the playoffs. So it's definitely frustrating especially when you're in that position. Like, that group has had a phenomenal year and won races, and then you have one moment that kind of could dictate your whole season.
All right, additional questions for Kevin? Okay, we'll go to Claire, and then, we'll go back to Bob, then to Claire. Go ahead, Bob.
So are you nervous, worried, or whatever happens for you happens, when considering how close you are to the cutoff?
Am I worried about points?
Yeah, well, are you worried about it? No, are you worried about advancing?
No, not at all. It is what it is. You go race as hard as you can, and where it falls, it falls. It's kind of like Martin's situation last week. There's nothing you can do about some things, and I don't worry about those things anymore, Bob.
All right, Claire, go ahead.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. Why don't you give us one more fiery moment before you leave at Bristol? I mean, just give us one more, right? Just for what do you think?
That stuff just, it is not made up. So, those moments happen naturally. So it's, you never know. I mean, it is Bristol. So it's just, you just never know what the day or night is going to bring.
Now, I know you, and I know you're not checked out, right? I know that you race your guts out every week, but people behind the scenes sometimes are going, he's already checked out. I don't believe that, right?
Yeah.
But it's so much work and there's so much competition. Can you answer that? Like,
yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah, those are the ignorant people that are keyboard warriors. Obviously, they weren't watching with 3 laps to go at Daytona and leading the race, well, all but leading the race coming to Darlington, and so if they can't answer that question, that's a pretty simple question. So they're just people who like to type.
Speaking directly to them. Last thing, what do you expect tonight? Because it's our Saturday, I should say. What do you expect Saturday? It should be just a fight I think it's going to be insane. What about you? You race with these guys.
Yeah, I don't expect it to be any different. You guys know I'm boring and give you the same answers every week. It's it's really just about each moment, each lap, trying to do everything that you can do to put yourself in position to be in the best position possible. And that's really everybody else's goal. And I think the racetrack itself has will dictate a lot of what happens if they do spray the racetrack again and try to keep the top groove from actually ever being used. Like they're talking about, it could be a one lane deal. So you just have to. There's just a lot of scenarios that have to come together and play out, and you just never know. You just never know where those are going to go, and really it's hard for me to. I tend not to predict anything because it's so unpredictable. Mm-hmm.
All right, we'll go to Zach. Go ahead, Zach.
Zach Sterniello, NASCAR.com. Kevin, you and Rodney, the relationship that you guys have had over the years, it seems like that has been key to a lot of the success that this Ford team has had. When you enter a situation like this weekend, where it is at least close, I know you said you're not concerning yourself with points, but do you lean on him? Do crew members lean on you or Rodney to just keep the focus on the task at hand for tomorrow night?
Nobody's even talked about it. That's how irrelevant it is to us.
All right, Dustin, go ahead.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. What will you look at tonight when you talk about just the track conditions in the sense of, as NASCAR stated, they may or may not put the PGA one on tomorrow. What would you look at? What would you want tomorrow? Do you want it to be, you've raced the old Bristol where it's one groove and you had to knock people out of the way. Do you want it to widen out, or how do you?
Yeah, this particular car is not like the old cars. You have to have options. Multiple cars following multiple cars around tends to make the cars not be able to get close enough to even push each other out of the way with the aero situation. So you need options, and I hope tonight that it at least moves up into the 3/4 mark of the racetrack to be able to at least get it cleaned off. I think there's definitely some guys that are going to push that issue to try to move the groove up the racetrack. And once it gets clean, it comes in pretty quick. But it's not going to come in for our practice. I don't think it's I'm sure that Larson and a couple of those guys will try to run up there, but it's very unlikely that it comes in practice unless everybody just commits to going up there and trying to blow it off. And that's really all it takes, is just a bunch of cars making a short amount of time up there to blow it off, and then it really comes in quick. But yeah, I mean, if it doesn't move up more than it is now in tonight's race, it'll take a while, especially if they repave it. But not having multiple grooves with this car is tough.
Does that mean, I guess, the Kevin Harvick don't give a crap tour gets, and it becomes more forceful tomorrow night then?
Forceful as in?
On the track?
You just look. You can be forceful and do all the things, but you're going to be aggressive and race hard and do the things that you need to do. But typically, if you run somebody over, you're going to get run back over. So it's you just have to balance all that stuff. It doesn't change. Like, there's really nothing. If it's just one groove, it's not going to change really any of the thought process that goes into trying to put your car in the front. To me personally.
All right, All right, we're going to go Peter, and then we'll end with Lee. Go ahead.
Peter Stroud at TSJ Sports. Kevin, Cole Custer was in here earlier and said how much of your legacy has been defined by mentoring young drivers. How special is it to see him honor you with the throwbacks team tonight?
Yeah, that Mobile One scheme has been really good to us, and Mobile has been such a big part of everything that we've done at Stewart Haas Racing, and a big part of the success, right? I've been around Cole since he started at Stewart Haas Racing, and when you look at, I enjoy watching those guys learn, whether it's Cole or Chase or Ryan or whoever has come through there. It's fun to be able to share your opinion on what's right or wrong and help them learn the sport, because that's really what kind of builds our sport into what it is. You learn from somebody, and then you develop your own ways and methods and thoughts and things. But Cole's a hard worker. I've always enjoyed being around Cole. It's fun to watch the younger guys, especially that you have a relationship with, like I do with Cole, be able to have success and do the things that they do. So, that's an honor to see that car on the racetrack, and proud that I know he'll do it proud tonight.
All right, Lee.
Looking at the next round, you've had a lot of success at Texas, and you've won at Talladega. If you go to the next round, how do you think that lines up for you in the 4-car?
Yeah, I mean, the mile and a halves just haven't been very good for us. I think we overachieved last week. Got some stage points and did the things that we did last week at Kansas, and had a chance to finish 7th or 8th and finish 11th, but still way overachieved with where we were. So they did a great job, and we were able to make something out of it. And so it just, with the Ford stuff, it's just you have to hit it right with where we are with our cars right now, and you have a very small window to get the car right on the bigger racetracks, and if you don't, then it's just a battle all weekend like we had last weekend to be able to make something out of it. So where's the third race?
The Roval. But
Roval.
You've won
Yeah.
at Talladega, but
Yeah.
I mean that's.
Yeah, well, you never know it. You never know at any of them, so you just grind away and just really take it lap at a time, and try to keep doing everything that you can do, collect as many points as you can, and make it the boring method, right? You just try to grind away, and so they've done a good job. I mean, we had a winning car at Darlington and got bit by circumstances, and last week we had a 20th place car and finished, ran in the top 5 for a small amount of time, and had a chance to finish in the top 10. So it's just those are the things that you battle back and forth. Especially with this car, some weeks are good, some weeks are just a grind all the way through. So you have to be mentally prepared to go out and be ready to address whatever that is, and that's why you just it's so unpredictable. To say, hey, we're going to run good here or we're going to run good there. It's just hard to tell with where and how you go about everything that we do in today's world with simulation and simulators and all the things that come with the changes from last year's rules to this year's rules as far as that goes, and then the body change and the difference in car, and only racing at those racetracks once make it even more difficult just because of not having anything from the beginning of the year.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Kevin. Always appreciate you spending time with us. Best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.